What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Hopefully, you guys are having a great day. Thanks for joining. So, I want to talk today about fasting. I know a lot of you guys are fasting. Maybe some of you guys just started. You're a couple days in, but some of you guys are a couple weeks in. But fasting is a big topic that I know a lot of people are talking about right now as we start the year, as we join in. So, feel free if you're on Facebook right now to leave a comment, uh, say where you're watching in from. Love to hear where you're watching in from. So fasting. All right. So what is fasting? How do we fast? Why do we fast? All of those questions I want to talk about real quick. I'll be doing a series on fasting, but today I just want to give kind of a broad overview of fasting and kind of an introduction, you could say, into fasting. And so, one of the big reasons or one of the big questions I get a lot is even what is fasting? And fasting is the abstaining of food for spiritual purposes. Okay, I think that's a big thing to say there is fasting is abstaining from food for spiritual purposes. if if you're looking at the health benefits, if you're looking at the fact that you're probably going to lose weight, then that's not really a fast. That is what we'd call a diet. Okay, so it is fasting from food, so it's abstaining from food for spiritual reasons. So there's a spiritual reason. We're doing this to get closer to God. We're doing this to hear clear from God, all those kinds of things. And so the second part of it is why do we fast? So what is a fast? Fasting is abstaining from food for a spiritual purpose. And then the second thing is why do we fast? So there's kind of three big reasons why I feel like we should fast. The first one is expected. Okay, so in Matthew 6:16, it says, when you fast, do not look somber like the hypocrites do. And it goes on and say some more, but it says when you fast. It's not if you fast or consider fasting, but it's when you fast. And so it is saying when it's assumed that we are going to be fasting. Okay, there's these three elements that continually come back. These three months of fasting, giving, and praying. Okay, we're going to do those things. Okay, and so it's assumed that we're going to be fasting. It's a regular part of our life, that we are giving up food for a spiritual purpose. The second thing is we do that so that we hear clear from God. Bill Bright, who wrote The Coming Revival, said this: it is not that God begins to speak louder when we fast, but we begin to hear him better. And so when we're fasting, it's not that God all of a sudden begins to speak louder, God begins to speak clear, but it's that we begin to hear better as we silence the noise, as we silence those things around us, and we begin to focus in on the Lord. It begins to be clearer or easier for us to hear the voice of God. The third thing is this: is it builds a spiritual bank account. Okay, one of my favorite passages is this Mark 9:29, and this man brings his son to the disciples who's having convulsions and all this kind of stuff, and the disciples pray for him, and they do all kinds of stuff. They know how to try and heal the sick, and it doesn't work. And they eventually bring him to Jesus, and Jesus casts out, and they say, why didn't this work? Teach us. And Jesus says, this kind only comes out through prayer and fasting. This kind only comes out through prayer and fasting. And what Jesus was saying is that there's some things in our lives, which we're going to talk about, that there's some things in our lives that only will come out through prayer and fasting. But what I want to notice here is that Jesus didn't say, well, hey, let's fast for a week and then come back and pray for your son. He right there in the moment prayed, healed the son, and then he says that this kind of only comes out through prayer and fasting. So what I take from that is that Jesus had been fasting. It wasn't they fasted and then. It was that he had built up this spiritual bank account, that he'd been praying and fasting before this moment even happened, and then he was able to withdraw from that bank account to make that healing or to experience that healing. And so fasting is not always just something we do because we have an immediate need, but that we do it as a regular part of our spiritual disciplines so that we are preparing for even things that will come in the future, so that we have this deposit of a bank account to draw from when it comes. And so, again, fasting is abstaining from food for spiritual purposes. It's expected of us. We hear God more clearly, and it helps us to build up a spiritual bank account. So another question is, how do we fast? How do you fast? Well, first of all, you substitute your time that you would normally eat with prayer. And I think this is really important. Is oftentimes a lot of people think, oh, well, I'll just work more. I'll just fill that hour lunchtime that I usually take with work, and I'll just fill it with other activities. No, the idea of fasting is that we take that time that we would normally be eating breakfast or lunch or dinner, and we substitute that with a spiritual act of worship, Bible reading, prayer, whatever it might be, but that we're substituting that time, not just replacing it with more work. Oh man, I've got, instead of 8 hours, I got 9 hours to work today. It's replacing it with prayer. The second thing too is how do you fast? The second thing is you drink a lot of water. Okay, drink a lot of water. If your fast allows you to have juices, drink juice. Okay, so drink a lot of water. You got to keep cycling out and just keep drinking water. It's going to help with a lot of your fast, your hunger pains, all that kind of stuff. So drink a ton of water. Okay, so first of all, substitute it. Secondly, drink a lot of liquid. And number three is focus your attention. Okay, have a reason why you're fasting. Okay, fasting is tough, especially when you're doing this for 14, 21, 30, 40 days. It's really tough. And so when you can begin to focus your attention on a specific thing, maybe you're needing an answer from the Lord, some direction. Maybe you need a healing in your body, right? Maybe you need wisdom, right? Whatever it is that you're asking or you're seeking of the Lord, make sure you focus on it and be real specific. These are times where you get to be very specific with the Lord because you're giving so much and you're sacrificing so much. This is the time to really ask a ton, ask specifically. Oftentimes people, our prayers are so general that we don't even know when they've been answered. But when we have very specific prayers, we can know that there's a very specific answer. Okay, so focus your attention, focus your prayers, and have a purpose as to why you're fasting. Again, if your purpose, you don't have a grand purpose right now, maybe it's, hey, I'm building up a bank account for the future. But for a lot of us, we have reasons why we're fasting: a health issue, salvation of a friend, salvation of a family member, right? We've got these reasons. Okay, so another thing would be this: is what to expect physically during a fast. Okay, what to expect physically during a fast. So here are a couple of things that, especially in the first 3 days, that you really will experience. One is headaches. Okay, you're going to experience some headaches. And the reason why you experience that is that the body is getting rid of caffeine, sugar, toxins, all kinds of things that it's getting rid of. And so you're going to experience some headaches for sure. Okay. So prepare yourself for that. Get geared up, get ready. It's totally normal to experience headaches. I know some people are like, well, man, this must be the devil attacking me. Well, no, just expect that you're going to experience some headaches. Okay. And part of that is you're probably got some bad breath. Okay. So get ready for some headaches, and you probably have some bad breath because, again, all those toxins, all that caffeine, the sugar, all that kind of stuff is moving out of your body quickly. And again, a great thing to do with that is to take a lot of water because it's going to help move all of that out even faster. Okay. The second thing to expect is your body will get tired. Okay. You're going to experience a little bit less energy probably at the beginning. Now, the longer you go your fast, that'll come back. In fact, a lot of people that do a longer fast will actually experience even heightened levels of energy that they maybe haven't experienced before. And so you can expect to be tired at times. If you're doing a really long fast, a 30, 40-day fast, there'll be at least a few days in the middle there where it's going to be very, very tiring. Okay. But I promise you, you'll come on the other side of it, and you'll experience a lot of energy. Okay. So be prepared for some headaches, maybe even some bad breath. Okay. So carry some mints around, especially those first few days. All right. The third thing is some stomach pain. Okay. Again, this is normal. Get used to it. Get prepared. Okay. This is your body being it's false starvation. Okay. I love this quote from Richard Foster, who wrote the book Celebration of Disciplines. He says this. He says, in many ways, the stomach is like a spoiled child, and a spoiled child does not need indulgence, but needs discipline. Let me read that again. This is Richard Foster from the Celebration of Disciplines. He says, in many ways, the stomach is like a spoiled child, and a spoiled child does not need more indulgence, but needs discipline. Okay, so the stomach, Franklin Jensen says, he calls it king stomach, right? King stomach is that this guy's trying to rule the empire of our lives, the stomach. And so many of us are ruled by our stomachs, right? It's been said that the way of a man's heart is through his stomach, right? And so, look, the stomach is going to have some pain. You're going to have some aches, some pains, and again, water. Drink water to replace what you would normally be taking in through food. Replace that with a lot of water. Okay. The other thing you can think about, okay, so number one was headaches. Number two, you're going to be tired. Number three, stomach pains. And then number four, something you can expect is you're going to be thinking about food. Okay. Those Taco Bell commercials have never been so good before. Those commercials for Pizza Hut have never been so good, or Applebee's, whatever it might be, right? You're going to see billboards of food all over the place. You're going to be sitting around thinking about food often. So try and replace, like Paul talks about renewing your mind. Those are times for you to say, no, I'm not going to sit around thinking about or talk about food. So many times I've seen people just sit around during a fast and they just talk about food all the time, right? Like, oh man, I wish we could. I can't wait until we have this food, or oh man, if I could just have it, whatever right now. Okay. So here's something. We've talked about your body. We've talked about your mind a little bit. So here's a couple of things you can expect spiritually to happen during a fast. Okay. A couple of things to happen, because remember, this is replacing food for a spiritual act. Okay, so it's not just filling it every time. So we can expect some spiritual things. So number one is this: a renewal of your mind and your focus. Okay, a renewal of your mind and your focus. We get to replace, maybe a lot of thought processes, maybe some negative thought processes, or some doubt, some worriness. We're going to replace those by fasting and saying, no, I'm going to give it to the Lord. I'm going to renew my heart. I'm going to renew my mind. I'm going to renew the way I think. I'm going to renew it with these spiritual ways of thinking. Number two is renewing your heart or your expectations. This is removing those things that maybe you have been focusing on in your heart, and you're emotionally, you've been just kind of focusing on some things that maybe you shouldn't have been. You're going to renew that, and you're going to see a renewal in your mind. You're going to see a renewal in your heart. And number three, we're going to see breakthrough. Okay. A lot of us have been praying for a lot of things, our family members, health, salvation, of friends. We've been thinking about direction in our life, and we're going to begin to see that breakthrough when we begin to fast and pray. Because again, remember, Jesus said there are some things in our lives that will only be broken through prayer and fasting. So maybe we're going to a deeper level in our prayer life, and God is about to break some things off of us. Okay. Another thing is we're going to see a passion for God like you haven't seen before. Okay. You're going to see a renewed passion. You're going to see heightened levels of passion for God as we dive into the Word. One thing that's really important to help us get to these new spiritual levels is to replace a lot of that time with reading your Bible. Don't just worship. Don't just pray. Those are great. but also read your Bible. The Bible will come alive so much more during these times of fasting. Okay, so a couple of things I want to just kind of address real quick. Is there's some times where you really want to, some people that you really want to think through carefully before you just jump into fasting. For example, if you have diabetes, you have heart issues, you're expecting mom, you have kind of a large list of medications that you're on. I really want to encourage you to talk to your doctors before, seek wisdom on how you fast, what you fast, and how long you fast. Okay, and so be careful out there. All right, I want to encourage you guys, keep going, keep fasting. Hope this has been helpful to you guys. Thank you for watching.